back to the 1950s in America, Elvis and the development of something which I really was a discovery for me, because being French, of course, I don't have this culture. What you call Ireland's Catholic pop. This is just an amazing, this is a great title, absolutely fantastic title, very intriguing, and the importance of the Ed Sullivan Show, both by introducing Elvis to the Irish audience and, you know, the whole world stage, but also introducing Irish Catholic pop to America. So I think it's well worth spending a little bit of time telling us about the little Gaelic singers and their, you know, their impact.
Again, this was the sort of thing where if you research deeply into a topic, you'll find things that you didn't know anything about. And you just, I remember discovering this and just the thrill. I felt like I was an archaeologist who had just unearthed some treasure, because Elvis is seen as this progressive, exciting, dynamic force who met a lot of resistance at the time because people thought, oh, that's gone too far. Oh my God, we've got to censor him. So there was a big campaign to censor Elvis. And yet he appears on arguably the biggest entertainment television show of the time, Ed Sullivan Show. This isn't the old grey whistle test. This isn't 2 o'clock in the morning, much music playing, alternative music. This is going into American households, American heartland. And if you had a whole show of Elvis Presley, you might have lost viewers. You might have had people think, oh my God, that Ed Sullivan, I thought we could trust him. And now look at him. Look what he's forcing on us. So the counterbalance when Elvis appeared for the second time were the little Gaelic singers. And they were a group of Irish. They started off in an orphanage, St. Columcille's up in Derry. And I believe the quote from Ed Sullivan is, aren't they the darlingest little children? So it was an alibi. It was a musical and cultural alibi for Ed Sullivan showing Elvis. It was the counterbalance. And the little Gaelic singers, it was fascinating because, again, it shows, well, who were the managers in Ireland of music acts who were able to get a record deal, who were able to get their acts going on tour. I know that you're the sort of person, you get upset when the bands you like tour elsewhere because you want to keep them for yourself. But the little Gaelic singers were a huge phenomena in the United States. We've got the massive diaspora, but there's also a Catholic presence beyond even the Irish diaspora. And they were singing nationalist songs. They were singing hymns. They were singing Little Ireland Irish ditties. So it was this fabulous moment where it was almost a Trojan horse of values. That you put these little kids, everybody says, aren't they so lovely? Aren't they cute? They're adorable. They were wearing the little Irish dancing outfits. They used to do a little bit of dancing. They were, the musical director was very, very talented, so it wasn't that they were bad. It's just that they were very, very, very identifiable with an image of Ireland as being a little backward, a little innocent, a little simple, a little pure. So it was all of that, what Edward Said would, call
yes.
othering. And yet they were a big visible export. Now, they weren't huge in Ireland. They were an example of, okay, sometimes you can send stuff out from Ireland and it will find a more receptive audience abroad. And they toured the United States regularly. They certainly had an audience. Decca Records signed them, released their records, promoted their records. And on the sleeve notes of the records was basically an endorsement for Irish Catholic orphanages. So that's why I invented this term, Catholic pop, Irish Catholic
Yes.
pop, because I was looking for a way to explain the influence of the church until quite recently on our popular music industry. And I thought, actually, this is a very, very interesting way of looking at the power of the church. Now, sending a group of orphans on tour in the United States, that must have been a thrilling adventure for them. But let's put that in the historical context. And we know a bit more about the historical context because people have started looking into the mother and baby homes, into the industrial scale export of babies from this country.
Really?
It was done by the Catholic Church rather than by the state. So again, what my argument is that the Catholic pop was a demonstration of how sophisticated the Catholic Church was, that they could get the major global record labels to actually promote Irish Catholicism and the Irish values as being, okay, the Irish, they're Catholics and their children are innocent and they're looked after by nuns who dress them up and then send them on tour singing religious songs, nationalist songs. So if I'm a Catholic nationalist in the United States, I think, oh, they're singing, Irish, essentially rebel songs, but they're singing Catholic songs as well. So, okay, so those two things are definitely being reinforced. They're reinforcing each other.
A new form of missionaries or mission work